The State Netball Centre, by no means full, but a good crowd in as we get this international series underway, and South Africa in the predominantly green uniforms. And much anticipation about this series as Sherelle McMahon misses with a first attempt, and it's regathered by the South African defence of Liana Deploy and Desmarie Kotze. And they've got plenty of height in that defensive circle, Anne. They'll need plenty of rebounds today.
Yes, it's a sensible lineup. When you look at the mid-quarters, they're small and fast. The end players, as is often the case, have the height, and certainly ample height in the South African defence circle. But a turnover now against South Africa will give Australia the chance.
Maggie Duplessis on the far side for the South Africans is their travelling umpire, and Australia's Kate Wright is umpiring her first international. And good luck to both umpires.
An uncharacteristic drop then through the hands of McMahon straight off the baseline. She was under the post. You'll go a long way to see that happen again as Australia find it difficult just to net the first one of the match.
Just caught in the centre third for a moment, the South Africans. And they're moving it now through Danley Boysen. And they find Manzo Mashoga. And it comes out for a comfortable rebound for the captain, Kath Harvey-Williams. Let's have a look at the lineups for you today for this first test between Australia and South Africa. And the Australians line, starting with the Phoenix combination of Southby and McMahon up front. Sanders, Richardson and Squire. Kath Harvey-Williams and Liz Ellis. No surprises at the back as Jill McIntosh, as we mentioned at the start of the program, searches for just the right combination. Shani Welthagen, Manzo Mashoga. They'll shoot a goal attack for South Africa. Danley Boysen, Martha Masoale, and the captain is Bronwyn Bock. Liana deployed goal defence, and goalkeeper Desmarie Kotze playing her 50th international for South Africa. And the coach, of course, is Victoria's own Jane Searle, released by the Victorian Institute of Sport a few weeks ago to take up this important role.
Yeah, former teammate of mine, the '83 Australian team to win World Championships in Singapore. She was the mighty wing defence on that occasion. Now, of course, has coaching responsibilities, and it is South Africa, the first to score in this Tri-Nation series.
And Manzo Mashoga was with the first South African team that came here after the apartheid era. In 1995, Manzo Mashoga and Irene van Dijk were both in the first team to come to Australia.
And difficult comparison, many of these players unknown to us and to Australian audiences. Three of this starting line, Moswala, Bock and Kotze, from the lineup which last faced Australia in December of 2000. Just three from a starting seven then, so massive changes.
Took a while for Australia to get on the board. They do it through Sherelle McMahon.
Beautifully read then by Harvey-Williams.
McMahon for a second. And just a little tentative on the shot early. And another strong rebound by Kotze and Deploy between them. And Bronwyn Bock now. Across to Deploy, known as Flea. Floy, Afrikaan, but a bit taller than a flea. And, around 188, 190 centimetres.
Deploy's had a stint in New Zealand with the Southern Sting. Didn't get a lot of court time, but great valuable experience for her coming to this series off the back of that calibre of netball.
Liz Ellis came out, had a go, and has got to retreat to the circle quickly. She's there now. And a contact by Richardson allows the Australian defence to get set. Welthagen. And Australian ball. A rusty start by the Australians. And one would imagine on reputation this is not far from Australia's best line. But it's in the centre third and at the goalers end, and that Jill McIntosh has got some thinking to do.
Well, I think most expect the line from wing attack backwards to be this lineup against New Zealand. The question mark, I should say, is over the shooting area. And Southby McMahon, of course, an established combination, come to this from the Melbourne Phoenix, both Melbourne girls, so fairly logical you might give them a run in this match. I expect to see the combination changed at half-time, and then it'll be left for us to guess which will be the starting combination against New Zealand. But I think we'll see that lineup exposed at some stage.
Jill McIntosh, Australian coach, like Jane Searle and like Anne Sargent, was in the '83 side in Singapore, Victoria, so we've got a real reminiscence of '83 in the coaching and commentary.
Well, Jane, of course, as you said, head coach of the Victorian Institute of Sport. Had a lot of success with the Victorian Open team at Nationals last year, won that title, and picked this lineup up a couple of weeks ago. We understand had a role in selection, and I think said at the press conference that while she's looking to make a few changes, she doesn't want to curb the natural exuberance of the line and the flamboyance that's natural to the way they play netball.
Harvey Williams drives it onto Sanders. Better movement down court, down that far side by the Australians. Looking for a way into the circle now as Sanders stuck for an option.
Well, contact call goes against McMahon, who was having difficulty getting herself upright. She really has a height disadvantage to her opponent, Liana Duploy, but she was burrowing down, and Duplessis decided that the infringement was being caused by McMahon.
Some really athletic players out there, especially in the mid-court. There's Masuala. I was thinking of her as I made that comment. But Kate Wright has seen an infringement. Jane Searle. So she's had a few weeks in Pretoria to pull the side together. Of course, you can't make an enormous difference in that amount of time, but I think the South African players are enjoying playing under her.
Sure, a very brief stint with them, and I guess it's just the touch that'll count, but she'll make a difference, and I think already we've seen them far more competitive in the early stages of the match, when you remember that the game had blown apart well and truly by the first quarter when last they met. It was 18-7 at the first break on last meeting, and already they're staying in the contest.
McMahon in to Southby as Deploy retreats, and she'll get to retake it.
McMahon and Southby both had a touch of Australia's last match against South Africa. Southby played the entire game and managed 83%, 25 goals from 30. McMahon played only half a match, but she put up 20 from 23, so good volume and 87% accuracy in just half the match from McMahon. So they're both experienced against South Africa.
And their lowest total, 23 goals against Australia. That was in November last year. And Australia scored the last 5. South Africa quicker out of the blocks, but the scoring's dried up for them.
Steve, you've got to point out, halfway through the first quarter, a 5-2 scoreline against Australia. That is a very creditable scoreline to keep Australia to 5, and the margin so narrow against the world champions is already to South Africa's credit. So if they could sustain this across the match, we'd have a wonderful Tri-Nation series in store.
Deploy and Kotzel rebounding strongly again. And Boyson finds a way into Welthagen, who offloads to Manzo Mushoga. Welthagen gets her second, and South Africa's third. She's 2 from 3, Mushoga 1 of 2.
And that's one of the rare occasions that actually used her height. She's a standout in the circle, but unlike the pattern we've seen before, it just rolls down and it's plugged to Irene van Dijk before her. This is a more mobile combination where they use the movement more than rely on the height.
Australia out to 6-3. Boyson finds Musuale, and Mushoga. Boyson again. Now Welthagen shoots over the leaping Liz Ellis. The rebound is Harvey Williams, but it comes straight out to Musuale. And Welthagen from long range didn't want to shoot from there, I don't think, but gets the result.
And she's been overshooting, really pushing it through rather than softening it with the fingers. The last one looked a lot more comfortable. Mushoga not relenting and is taken with the obstruction call. Lovely work with the outside arm by Bock. Really clean work on the ball. Textbook stuff, using the arm furthest away from the opponent.
McMahon now, he's on 3 from 5, 4 from 6, and the stats will start to build. Ellis keeps it in.
Good work by Ellis, but the ball was called. It was placed on the inside, not to the attacking player, but she had the line covered beautifully.
Well taken. Kotze. Bock, just stuck for a moment as the Australian defensive effort steps up. Now on to Boyson. And to go forward through
stalling
Deploy.
Through the mid-court, both Boyson and Maswala. No clear indication of who's on lead.
Quickly through, though, to Mashoga. Trying to work a 1-2 with Boyson. And also a shot offered to Mando Mashoga.
Boyson has quick hands. There wasn't much room to feed that last ball to Mashoga.
Ellis, strong rebound, uncontested almost. Sanders has it in a flash. Harvey Williams to McMahon. Richardson, left shoulder still heavily strapped. Delightfully quickly from McMahon onto Southby, and in back play McMahon nearly got that bloodied nose from last week re-knocked. Amusing in the press conference for both these sides. The issue of last week's Phoenix Thunderbirds game was brought up and laughed off by the Australian captain. Southby works neatly with Richardson to present this chance. It's just a little hesitant still, Southby and McMahon. They can't afford to be, and they run into the silver ferns. But it's 9-4. Suale looking for deploy. Squire.
Oh, and it'll be retaken. The call from Maggie du Plessis is that McMahon wasn't completely out of play, that she'd left the mark before the release of the ball, and they will deny Peter Squire that intercept. South Africa back in possession.
And Boyson has it. Looks for Weltagen. And Wright picked out penalty off the ball against South Africa. Squire. Richardson on to McMahon. Sanders just lost the handle under pressure from Bronwyn Bok. So 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Australia 9-4. It hasn't come easily for them.
Well, 2-on-1 back in the circle, shut down the spaces for McMahon. Wasn't a good option with the feed.
McMahon again. And contact against Southby. And the Australians, their fluency is not there.
No, Maggie du Plessis quite heavy on the penalties against the attacking line. In fact, it's ironic, there are more penalties against Australia's forward line than the back line. That's not usually the case. So there'll be some adjustment with the body positioning across the game so that they don't attract as much whistle.
Have to adjust from last Friday for a start. That was one of the more physical games.
It certainly was, but Kath Harvey-Williams perhaps attracted the most in that game. She's only 2 in this, so some adjustments have been made.
Southby.
Beautiful shot by Eloise Southby. Brings up number 6. 6 from 9 at 67%. McMahon is sitting at 71% with 5 from 7.
Boyson. Back to deploy. Suale. And Ellis came out of the circle again. That was to follow Weltagen. And Harvey Williams pulls in another one quite comfortably. Southby, Sanders. And McMahon. Southby for her 7th. Starting to build it now.
Australia with just 17 attempts at goal in this first quarter today. That's just over 1 a minute. It's a very slow scoring rate, really struggling to get the ball cleanly through the court against South Africa. So they wouldn't have been expecting to be held to this low score early on.
Harvey Williams trying to do something about it. She sets McMahon in motion. 2 fierce rivals from last week, but a loose ball picked up quickly by Liana Deploy. Bok has to run it down. And just the spill from Masuale. And McMahon for her 6th. It's short. And easily taken by Desmarie Kotze. Challenge from behind. Not allowed on Liana Deploy by McMahon. Squire takes so many intercepts these days. Reads the play well. McMahon. 6 from 9. And Australia 13-4 leaders, so they've stopped South Africa's scoring after the visitors scored the first 2 of the match. Only 2 since. Masuale to take it.
Contact, goal shooter, Australia.
And goal not allowed. Kate Wright finding another infringement by the South African goal. Was last seconds of the first quarter. And McMahon will have time to put it up, but not to get it. And the rebound again taken by Deploy. Bit of a story there in the first. Second quarter action about to begin. And the first test, Australia and South Africa in this dry series. Nick Richardson has it. And Australia 13-4 leaders. Touch there from Desmarie Kotze to deny the first attacking move of Australia. McMahon.
Contact wing defence outside. Contact goal defence inside. Pass for shot.
Change of piece for the lineups. Really difficult for Jill McIntosh to juggle the tactical look, I suppose, if you could call it that, at the combination she might run. Catherine Cox on for Eloise Southby. Southby shot 7 from 10. I guess Jill McIntosh knows what Southby and McMahon can do together. It wasn't always fluent. And the other change on the South African side, they've benched Martha Masuale from centre and put on Delisa Notseke. And Cox playing her 12th test. Been shooting 78% across her international career, 81% in 3 matches against South Africa.
Yeah, the last time she played was in that December 2 match. She got half a game, 1 quarter at goal attack and 1 at goal shooter. She put up 18 from 26 at 69%. Comes out of the National League series a little down from the others, averaging at 65% so far in the National League, but already since she's taken the court has been used a bit more as a spearhead, as a target in the goal circle.
It was a good attempt for Desmarie Kotze there to stop the Australian drive. The goalkeeper's had a strong game, her 50th for her country. Richardson.
Beautiful leap.
Well, I've admired that all through her career, McMahon. And Australia has scored the last 11 goals. So they've gradually worked out South Africa. Having said that, that's a pretty ordinary pass. McMahon shoots a smile back up court towards Peter Squire, who's laughing her head off. And Kotze to deploy. Penalty against McMahon.
It's a shame because the Australian defenders were sitting up high and Peter Squire had eyes for that ball.
4th penalty against Sherelle McMahon.
Leading penalty holder on court for Australia. It's not a badge of distinction, it's just ironic.
Boyson. Welthagen. Got Mashoga in the circle, but they've got to come back into the centre third. Deploy. Plays on.
3-second call against South Africa. A tribute to Australia. Been good. 4 goals conceded to South Africa. It's more our ability to score at the other end that's been a little slow, and that's starting to rectify itself now as Cox puts her in her effort 3 from 4 at 25%. I was watching, Steve Netseki in the, not Seki, in the warm-up. She didn't stop smiling. She's just relishing the outing and keen to be on court. Obviously delights in a netball.
She's plays with the Border Province side, and she's from East London. Catherine Cox had a good, solid start. It's just a second miss. Notseke.
Oh, great touch from Sanders.
The athletic take two from Bronwyn Bock in the end. Harvey Williams too tall for her opponent. Delisa Notseke on that occasion. Cox to Sanders. Cox makes her way into the circle, and it's to McMahon. The defender is Liana Deploy. Can't stop that shot. And the Australians starting to put their foot down as the Silver Ferns. New Zealand look on. Irene van Dijk to the right there. Just a little shake of the head saying, not going so well, the old team. It's a controversial departure, Irene's, for New Zealand. It's a new country. And that's all that's behind her. And getting a good look at the Australians. I wonder what they'd make of their first quarter. Nothing too threatening, I would have thought.
No, they wouldn't have drawn any fear from the quarter, but Australia rectifying things now. You've really got to pay some credit to South Africa. They don't come from experience with this speed of game, this type of game. Although Interesting enough, they will be starting their own National League in July, I understand, so that should give them a new level of competition as a home base.
Just 6 teams in that National League. It'll go through till October. Oh, Wiltargan a little lucky to get that one back. First goal of the quarter. Took them 5 minutes.
Offside call against Manzo Mashoga gives the free pass to Australia quickly down the court. And Cox has already made an impact in the game. She's added a little bit of height, but she has been quite precise in the moves.
New Zealand consider her the one that got away. Catherine Cox, born in New Zealand. And it's offloaded to her by McMahon, but she was out of court.
Yeah, it was nice timing on the offload, but it was taken from out of court. Kate Wright citing that.
Boyson to Mashoga. It's a less aerial game they're playing, isn't it?
Yeah, much more drive down to the circle, and they're asking more movement of their shooters. So you can see some Australian influence in their play, even though it's early days with Jane Searle. Not as much emphasis on plugging it to the shooter. And they mix up the defence a little more than they used to, I think, as well. Able to match the speed a bit more, able to shut down the spaces by playing 2 back in the circle.
I'd like to see Wiltargan perhaps back herself a bit more. You see she... Oh, and Harvey just swipes across the top of Mashoga. Mashoga asked for the timeout.
Well, Australia 31, pushing up towards their last total of 35 at halftime. So the attacking rate now settling for the world champions. And defensively, if anything, a greater effort from them. South Africa scored 15 by halftime December 2000. Restricted to 7 at the moment.
Jordan with a shot. It's a good throw in, taken by Boyson.
And that's the lady to whom I'll be heading after this match, just to double check we've got it right. Maureen Boyle, #1 in the world, retired from umpiring last year.
Oh, Richardson nearly headbutts the wall.
By everybody as unparalleled.
Cox to deploy on through Noxeke. And a touch there from Squire.
It's good work from Squire, though. She could see that to land would raise the question of a contact, even though it was perhaps setting up a contact. So she pulled out.
And they're just having to push their passes, South Africa. They know the level of intensity the Australian defence has been mounting. Though turnovers coming a little too frequently. Sanders regathers. McMahon on was meant for Richardson. It'll come back. The Australian penalty against South Africa. Cox will make that clear. And brought down well by Desmarie Coxer. Sanders retrieves. Cox again, this time. And she's 11 from 15. She's nearly caught McMahon in the number of goals. McMahon 14 from 18. Cox's output has been good. Again, some credit up the court as the mid-court and defenders settle into a more fluent effort. Noxeke back to Jordan. Anchors that right foot, might shoot from there.
I was just interested in the reaction from the crowd around us, Steve, when Jordan bounced the ball. Everybody thought it was a replay, but the rules quite clearly state you can bounce the ball to gain possession in this sport, and most people, when they see it employed, mistake it for a replay.
McMahon, 15 from 19, 79%. And that is half-time. Well, Australia restricting South Africa to just 5 goals in that second quarter, and they scored 20 themselves. Set for the second half at the State Netball Centre. And it's a big job ahead for South Africa, 33-9 down. Australia's made a swag of changes. In fact, Peter Squire's the only player from the second quarter who's in the same position.
She must have run away with the bibs on, patches on, and hid.
So Southby is back on at goal shooter, and she's been joined up the front end by Jackie Delaney. Alex Hodge comes on at wing attack. Sanders drops back to centre, so Richardson has gone. Peter Squire, as we mentioned, still at wing defence. And the defenders now, Liz Taverner and Bianca Chatfield. So a bit of hometown excitement in the defensive end for Australia.
Well, they got their money's worth within the opening seconds. Chatfield taking a lovely intercept deep down on the transverse line, making her presence felt.
And we also got Martha Masuale back on at centre for South Africa. And she'll take the throw in now, replacing Zalisa Matseka, who just had the 1 quarter. Might get on in the last, who's to say. That was a difficult pass for Shani Weltagen to take a turnover, and Chatfield to take it. Bianca Chatfield just playing her 3rd test and her 1st at home. We mentioned last weekend how much she must have been looking forward to this.
And she's the baby of the outfit, and it's lovely that she can go on court with a natural combination that she enjoys with Lizzie Taverner from National League. The mid-court has a Thunderbird combination with Sanders and Hodge, so some nice, comfortable combinations for some of the girls. And of course, when it's appropriate, it's great to make use of an existing combination.
Cox shot 11 from 15 in that 1 quarter, by the way, so she stated her case to the coach. In 15 minutes, maybe she'll come on in the last.
Delaney effortlessly making a statement for herself, then just quietly worked the backspace. Beautiful move to the post.
Weltagen over the top to Masuale.
Contact on the arm, keeper. Inside, pass or shot.
Come back.
That's it.
For the shot for Jordan.
No, anyway. That's it.
Does it now? Well, Weltagen will take it. No, she won't. She'll try and offload.
Keeper, pass or shot.
Does of it.
Penalty take.
Chatfield moving off the mark, has to stay exactly in that position until the ball is released.
Leaning goal defence.
Even if the shooter steps through and she just got sucked in a little, it's holding it up, and they finally made good with it.
Well, Liz Taverner gave away the penalty.
Weltagen was never going to shoot in the first place, always looking to dish off.
Delaney onto Sanders. And Southby. Not easy to play a quarter, sit one out, come back on again. And Southby, as mentioned, shot 7 from 10 in the first quarter. She's back in the game. 8 from 11 now. Sanders and Hodge. Southby. Fluent work from those 3. Alex Hodge has been in pretty good form in the National League. That whole Thunderbirds middle 3. They've got a strong case for an inclusion as a unit.
Hodge has been in magnificent form. Just a delight to watch the young player come through and really contest at this level. And I think, as Jill McIntosh has said on record, the competition is very strong within the lineup. And it's a healthy situation for the Aussie team.
Shani Weltagen. Just her 5th goal, but from 7 attempts, just needs more of the ball.
It's working sweetly, the trio from the Thunderbirds in this quarter, Hodge, Delaney and Sanders. It's nice from the centre through. Southby just needs to sit back, have a look, watch the ball run down, and do that, which she does oh so well. Southby now on 11 from 14 at 79%, is looking very comfortable.
In fact, she's 4 from 4 for this quarter.
And as you say, Steve, it is extremely difficult to be on and off the court, but these girls are getting used to that level of professionalism expected of them.
We saw during the half-time break, Kath Harvey-Williams in deep conversation with the umpires about the rule we were discussing, Anne, but we've got a player down.
And Maggie du Plessis ignoring it for a while. She called time before the shot, but du Plessis did not call the time until after the shot was scored. As Kotzer, full stretch, works the outside of the right ankle by the look.
So on comes Jasmine Magan-Govind again, the physio. So Harvey-Williams and McMahon, they can bear to be in the same room together. That was the joke at the press conference. And Nick Richardson stretching down, warming down. Delaney on the baseline. Tricky ball she gave back to Hodge. It was well taken there. They don't drop many, do they?
Penalty pass or shot.
Beautiful hands.
Southby. 15 from 21. I think Southby, when she was replaced at quarter time, must have had nightmares about that test in Newcastle a year ago, where she played one quarter. shot 2 from 5, I think. Came on, Cox came on, and Australia went on to record a great win. I would like to have had that game over again and see how Cox, Southey would have gone if she'd stayed on the whole game.
And unfortunately, they are the only stats she has against New Zealand at this point in time. So we do hope to see her out there at some stage and to embellish them a little. And I wasn't going to bring that up.
Oh, well.
It's a tough call, but it is the only stat, and longevity may correct it.
Well, Targan took a tumble there over Chatfield. A grimace. A little bit of a sore lower back now, I'd suggest.
Umpire's just checking the centre. There is a query as to whether it's a South African centre, but no, it's with the Aussies. Hodge knew that, Sanders knew that, and they were quick to jump.
47-15. Australia closing in on 50. Should make it before three-quarter time. And communication happening there between Bronwyn Bock and Danley Boysen, who closed in on the same ball. Turnover, Squire to Hodge. Southby working well. I wonder what changes Jill McIntosh has in store at three-quarter time.
I don't know that we'll see any. Those that have been removed from the game are well and truly, and you can see in that background shot, in recovery mode. They're stretching down. There's ice on various parts. It looks like this lineup might settle in to conclude the match unless she does some positional switches on court. I can't really see any reason for that.
2:20 left in the third. Squire. Hodge looking for Delaney. It's through her hands to Sanders. A little lucky. They'll take it as Southby drives along the baseline to collect another. And 17 from 24. And a timeout called this time by Liana Duploy. Harvey Williams, pretty strong first half. Thoughts probably already turning to the match against New Zealand. She'll be well aware that the Silver Ferns are here and watching, and how much they keep up their sleeve, if anything. Certain moves from centre passes, Anne, that they don't show. What do you think?
I was wondering earlier tonight whether we were at all concealing the line. It's a bit hard to work out. I thought we saw the touch of it in the second quarter. There go the Silver Ferns off to chat about what they thought or didn't think of Australia's performance. I think it'll be a whole different arena when these two teams meet. I don't think this match will have much bearing on it at all, irrespective of the lineups we've viewed in this one.
Australia's centre pass. Sanders, Hodge, Delaney. Whoops. It's an Australian ball. Came off a South African hand. That's a little fortunate for the Aussies. And mucked up that feed to the circle. Delaney might have come off a South African. Well, it must have. So I'll take back that criticism. Delaney, 6 of 7. 86%. Actually has the best shooting stats on court. Right, but Jordan's doing too badly on 8 from 10.
You know, it's a long time between drinks for Jackie Delaney against South Africa. She last played in June of '99 because she then, of course, was out all of last season with a knee injury. In that match, she was 22 from 23 at 96%, so very comfortable.
Hodge. Across to Sanders, and Delaney a little too quick for Liana Duploy. Just shook her off along the baseline and has a think about it and drops. Australia hits 50 with a minute to go in the third, and they had the centre pass. Delaney. Bronwyn Bock doing their best to stick with Hodge, but they go around that problem. Sanders. Hodge was free on the far side of the circle, but now Delaney. And she's 8 from 9. A smiling Liz Ellis. And Catherine Cox and Lisa Behay. They're a happy crew. Certainly their appearance backs up the summary of the captain and coach, who said one of the strengths of this line, or this squad, is how well they get on together, off the court and on.
Australia's starting to show off now. They're comfortable on court, and the pretty aspects of their play are now very frequent. You have to wonder. Delaney's in brilliant form, but you would have thought she might have teamed up with Cox or McMahon if she was to be a start for New Zealand. So unless Jill McIntosh is concealing it, despite how well she's playing, it's hard to imagine getting the start.
53 to 15. They've scored 3 in the last minute. Australia to really stretch out this lead, and they're looking impressive as the match quarter. And Australia and South Africa have made a change apiece. And Catherine Cox is back on. She's the alteration for Australia, replacing Southby. So Cox and Southby both getting half a game. Interesting to see how Cox combines with Jackie Delaney. And for South Africa, Noxeke is lining up at... there's a couple of changes, I beg your pardon, for South Africa. With Boysen coming on at centre, moving from wing attack. And Noxeke coming on at wing attack. Martha Masuale goes to the bench. Kavanagh, ambitious ball, perfectly placed for Cox.
Well, the reintroduction of Catherine Cox answers a question we raised before the break. It's difficult to assess Delaney's impact if we don't see her with an alternate shooter. Now we've seen that, but we've seen most combinations possible. A difficult ask of Jill McIntosh to settle the issue. Peter Squire, the only player to have not been moved throughout the match, has been anchored at wing defence, and Sanders the only other player to have the whole match, but she's moved from wing attack to centre. We thought the back line was pretty well going to pick itself when we look ahead to New Zealand, but the forward line, well, your guess is as good as.
Well, Targan, 8 from 10. It's interesting to consider the centre court, where we reckon that Jill McIntosh has got to sort out the best possible combination to take on New Zealand, that she would play Sanders and Squire a whole game the night before they take on New Zealand. Poses a question or two itself.
Yeah, it's also to keep the combination swinging around a constant. And probably both, both you'd expect Squire to be on at wing defence. Sanders you would expect to definitely be on the court. The question is where. So you need to have her out there to assess it.
And Australia 13-4 at quarter time, but they've added 20 goals in the second and 20 in the third. New Zealand have scored 4, 5 and 6 goals, so they're building, but just not quickly enough. Sanders with the centre pass, and the whistles from both sides of the court there, I think, on that one to progress the penalty down court. Delaney.
Defending from off court, keeper, pass or shot. Just here, thanks.
A call from Kate Wright, defending from out of court, will give the penalty pass or shot to Australia. It's offloaded to Cox, who makes good.
And Cox caught in from 18. They have to cut those players a little bit of slack who've played a quarter, gone off and come back on again. Oh! I don't know when I last saw that. Straight through, three-pointer. Actually, nothing. Oh. Gee, you'd love to give it something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it deserves something. Got applause. A lot of applause. Let's have another look.
That was from way downtown.
Boysen lets it rip up. It goes. You normally see that at the end of a match on another sport.
Yeah, you do. And Squire. Oh, Delaney. It's a Cox. Oh, I hope she finishes this. It certainly deserves a goal. It was quite inspirational stuff leading up to the miss.
Yeah, Cox shakes her head. That was a gimme and did deserve to be completed. That's one of the most pleasurable passes in the game, to go up knowing that you've sighted the other shooter or the other player and just flick it on while you're in the air. Kills a lot of coaches, but it's very pleasurable as a player.
Sanders, Hodge, and all that Thunderbirds combination.
Great ball and beautifully taken by Sanders.
Tapped out of play by Bronwyn Bock.
Right there.
South Africa will be hoping to better that 23 goals last November. It's their lowest score so far against Australia in 15 encounters. probably the most important match Australia and South Africa have played is the World Championship final in Birmingham in '95. Australia 68-48 on that occasion.
Yeah, the match never in doubt, but it did have a different intensity about it. And, of course, a 20-goal margin does look significantly different to a 40-goal margin. This match indicates that Australia and New Zealand may well be battling on court for personal pride and off court to better each other's scorelines against South Africa.
South Africa in those World Championships beat New Zealand by a goal. And that pushed New Zealand into Australia's half of the draw. And Australia was expected to meet New Zealand in the final. That didn't happen. Australia beat New Zealand by the 1.
Great work, Peter Squire. He's had a fine game for Australia. Cox pushed off her mark. Coxer will stand out.
Cox 18 from 24. Centre pass South Africa. Boysen takes it. A lot of whistle in this match. 35 penalties against Australia, 47 South Africa. Having said that, there have been plenty of matches where we've seen more penalties.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think there's just been 2 blasts to the whistle for the 1. So maybe that's it.
Well, all the Australian shooters are sitting in the 70s. Their team average is 75%. South Africa's is 76%. Southby 72. McMahon left the court at 79. Cox is on 73. Delaney on 79.
That's it. Contact, Cooper.
Contact on the arm is indicated by Kate. Right?
That's it.
Delaney. Oh, out it comes. Clean take this time from Kotze. On to Bronwyn Bok.
Contact goal shooter just outside the circle.
And Cox now
Bad obstruction, goals hard.
a couple of penalties.
Australia really has kept the body quite clean in this match. Squire just 3 penalties for the whole game total. Harvey Williams left the court with just 7. Ellis just 2. There's been a bit of work done in contesting without the body taking out the player.
Squire thieving another intercept. Delaney. And Sanders, who's had a whole game as well, just 1 penalty.
Squire is the player with the most intercepts to her credit on court.
Boysen trying to find Jordan. Chatfield, Taverner, Hodge, Delaney to Sanders. Once again, a good timing on the build-up. So no finish this time.
A couple of lazy shots in this quarter, just not enough work done with the fingers.
That's it.
They'll all need to drop against New Zealand. Bok. Voltagen. Contact against Chatfield. So South Africa will have 2-on-1 in the attacking circle. Voltagen just a little bit of a nudge in the back from Liz Taverner. She must have just been feeling the space there.
There wasn't too much in it, and I think she decided, well, you can go out to the edge of the circle if you like. You can shoot it from there if you've got it there. She was going to guard the gal closest to the post.
Taverner has it now. Chatfield withstands a late challenge from the tumbling Voltagen.
That was a domino effect back in the goal third.
Great composure from Chatfield. Did not even look around after being clipped across the schnoz.
No, particularly for an 18-year-old, she's really putting in an accomplished performance.
She's 19 now.
Oh, yeah, missed the birthday.
Only just.
Do read your stats closely.
Cox. Sanders. Delaney. That's better. And 13 from 17 for the South Australian.
Offside, South Africa. 3 fouls Australia, standing offside.
And South Africa offside. A clear call from Maggie Duplessis. I think Maggie must have toured with that South African side in the 70s. It wasn't allowed to play any internationals, but played state sides, which I've seen on her CV. She played against Queensland for South Africa. Delaney.
Post left wide open by the South African defenders. The talk no longer in the circle for them, and Delaney made them pay.
Hodge was under some pressure there from Boysen. Cox.
Pinball machine effect now. We had dominoes up the other end. Now it's ricocheting around like a pinball machine.
We've had basketball too.
Oh, yeah, we did. The three-pointer. We've got it all here in Melbourne.
And penalties 22 against Liana Dupuy. Sue might be having a word to her about her control and discipline.
South Africa nudging it up may reach their lowest score, although they're really running it close to the wire.
Cox. Softly into deploy. Over that won't please the Aussie coach. It's hard to retain the focus when you've got this kind of a lead. 48 on Argent. Mapseka. It's bounced around. They've not adjudged the replay as Weltagen finds Jordan, who will shoot over Chatfield.
Walked away in the shot, expected it to drop, but...
Well, expected Weltagen to get the rebound.
Well, one of the two. I think she expected it to drop, but Weltagen had to fight for the rebound. Jane Searle contemplating how to salvage 47 goals before a few days' time. It's a lot of ground to be made. And I guess a little disheartened that they haven't made inroads into Australia's performance. But as we commented at the top, it wasn't going to happen in a matter of weeks.
Hodge, Delaney, Sandwich. But perhaps, as we mentioned about the National League, once that starts up and running, and the top players will get more tough matches, and it'll all come. I don't think if they had no National League here, that we'd see the standard that we have. Plus,
No.
But we've also got that strong infrastructure that we've had for so long with the Institute of Sport program, and that's the kind of base that South Africa would love to have.
Yeah, we have several tiers to the development of our players, whether it's regional academies or the state academies, national championships and the National League, and that, of course, is servicing Australian netball well. As we take another look at the challenge coming in through here. Whoa! Hip to hip they go.
Mapseka enthusiastic, just lacking a little timing there. She has it. In for Jordan.
Yeah, nice front hold by Jordan, held strongly. And that one does drop as she walks away. 22 their total.
11 from 15 for Jordan. They just need one more in a couple of minutes, and they've got the centre pass. They'll equal at 23 that they certainly want to better today. The assistant coach there, Lisa Behag, can't sit on the bench, can she?
No, strict mandate as to who can sit on the bench. And it doesn't include an assistant coach.
Well, Jordan has really put a case for first inclusion next match for South Africa. Sanders. And Cox turns around. And slaps at it a little clumsily and cleans up Desmarie Kotze. I don't think she'll have a headache later, but making sure the umpire didn't miss what we all saw.
Nice play. They just need a shooter at home to complete the passage.
Mapseka up for it. I think she stepped into the circle there for a minute. She's lost the patch as well, but they've still got possession.
Well, South Africa a little slow to find the drive to the ball. They find access to the post now via a penalty. Taverner out of play. Jordan with a sweet one. Brings up number 24 for South Africa.
69-24 inside the last minute. High ball for Weltagen. Chatfield is there.
High ball, but it was placed the wrong side of Weltagen. It was placed the side where Chatfield was hunting.
Weltagen with the throw-in. Finds Jordan. Taverner is her defender. Oh, that's a long-range effort, and Chatfield pulls down the rebound quite convincingly. Easily. Squire. And there's a hand on that. That's why it was misdirected, and it'll come back. Well picked up by Maggie Duplessis on that far side. Both umpires have had a pretty good game. And congratulations again to Kate Wright with her first international. And the crowd knowing that this match is all but over. Just seconds left. And South Africa have avoided that score of 23. Done one better. And I think Catherine Cox will get to take one last shot. And again. And players move up to shake each other's hand after this. And she gets it. And Australia gets 70. And